Hello friends! Today I'm going to talk about the Haggard Makeup Scepter Series, which is a collection that launched quite recently, and it consists of 3 palettes and 6 lip products in total. I own 3 of the products and I own all 3 of the palettes, and I will go through everything with you. But before we jump into the review, I want to be transparent and tell you that I received those products in PR. For those who doesn't know about Haggard Makeup, it's a Chinese brand that focuses a lot on the edgy, more gothic style, which I personally love and adore. It's really fun and unique in my personal opinion. So before I review the products, I will show you the swatches of the palettes and lip products, and then I will show you the looks I have been creating with the products, and after that I will tell you my full-on thoughts about the collection. Now that you have seen the swatches, I'm sure that you already know that this is a beautiful, beautiful collection. It's very well thought out. It's really interesting in my opinion. But if we are going to start to talk about the packaging, first of all, the outer packaging is absolutely amazing. It looks like this. And I'm honestly not someone who normally saves the outer packaging, but I think I will do it with this collection, to be honest, because it's just really cool. But what's even more cool and exciting is the actual packaging of the palettes. I will show you. So they look like this. I will show you some better close-ups so you really can look at how pretty and amazing they are. The only issue with this kind of decoration is that they might be a little bit harder to store, but I don't find this to be an issue because I'm planning to keep them in the original packaging, so it's easier to store that way. If I'm not being mistaken, I think that all of those palettes are inspired by Norse mythology, which suits me perfectly since I'm from Scandinavia, or more precisely Sweden. So yeah, that's just really cool. When you open up the palettes, you will see those plastic inserts. It's the shade names in both English and Chinese, so you will be able to see what the shades are called, because in the actual palettes you won't see any shade names. And I think that's a cool idea. I don't really care a lot about shade names, so the fact that the palettes doesn't have the shade names printed on the packaging doesn't bother me at all. Color story wise, I enjoy all three palettes. One of them is more pink and purple leaning, one of them is a neutral grungy palette with a pop of blue, and one is a more elegant and glamorous palette with pops of gold and neutral shades. Haggard Makeup really knows their color stories, and that's really fascinating to me. I felt the same when I used the first collection, which I also have a review up on if you are curious to hear my thoughts about that one. Formula wise, I feel like both the mattes and shimmers has improved since the first launch from the brand, and I think that's great because that means that the brand are working towards getting better and better formulas. The first launch had more drier shimmers, while this collection has more wet looking shimmers. Some people might prefer the drier shimmers, but I personally prefer the more wet looking shimmers because they are more impactful on the lids. As with most creamy and flaky shimmer formulas, you really need a glitter glue to get the most impactful effect of those shimmers, but I feel like that's more like a rule than an exception, if you understand what I mean. And whether the matte formula actually has improved or not, I'm not sure, because it still feels similar, but I think it's more softer to the feeling than before. I'm not entirely sure, as I said, but it feels really good, it's really pigmented, it's easy to work with, and overall I'm just very impressed with the formula. Some of the shimmers are very sparkly and really beautiful, which is my personal favorite kinds of shimmers. I really love a really sparkly lid, it's just my preference. But there is also some more toned down shimmers if you're into that, and I like to use those kinds of shimmers in the outer corners, for example, or on the lower lash line. In the Captive of Night palette there is also a matte with glitter specks inside it, but I personally don't mind those kinds of mattes. I think they work perfectly fine, and you can see the glitter specks if you use a glitter glue, but unless you do that, you don't see it that much. Those palettes are slightly smaller in size compared to the first launch. I really like the smaller size, it's easier to store and it just looks very cute. And I will put up a comparison here on the screen very soon, so you can see for yourself how it looks like. But on the width, it's the same size, so to say. Every palette contains 5 shades each, which is a quite small number, but it's still enough shades for you to be able to create a couple of different looks. The first launch had 7 shades in comparison, and keep in mind that the palettes from the first launch had smaller pan sizes, so I don't know the diameter or centimeter millimeter in the first launch, but I can tell for this newer collection it's the more normal 26 millimeter size. I don't really have anything negative to say about those palettes besides that be careful when you use the creamy shimmer formulas, because if you dig too hard with your fingers you can easily almost hit pan, and that's something that is quite common with those super creamy formulas because they are just so creamy, so it's easy to move around with the eyeshadow in the pan, so keep that in mind. It's super easy to put it back, but it's a bit messy to do it. I really enjoy that the palettes has a nice depth inside them. That means that the palettes contains a darker shade, a lighter shade, and some mid-tone shades. The palette that is called Ecstasy of Saintess could maybe have had a more slightly darker shade, but I don't mind that because I really have enjoyed to combine those palettes. I'm actually using all three palettes on my eyes today, and I mean, it's so easy to just reach for a black or a darker matte if you really need that, so that's not a big problem for me. But if you really like those dark smoky looks, maybe you need to keep this in mind. Or you could use the very dark purple shimmer, that's another stunning shade. One reason too as why I really love the Haggard Makeup matte formula is because I can do my intricate and complicated graphic liner looks with them. It's really easy to control the pigment and be able to do more complicated looks. But you can also do more softer looks if you enjoy that, and I really enjoy the versatility of this formula. So would I recommend those palettes for you? Yes, I would. If you enjoy the color stories, there is no doubt about it. The prices are really reasonable and just fantastic in my opinion. And now let's talk about the product that really surprised me. It's called the Scepter Series Double-Ended Glossy Lip Gloss. And it's basically a double-ended gloss with a lip tint on the one side and a lip gloss on the other side. And the reason why I was so surprised by this was because the formula is so good. I got 3 of 6 shades and I'm honestly thinking about picking up the other 3 shades too because I really love them. So first of all, the lip tint is not your traditional lip tint. It's more like the maybe traditional K-beauty or Asian beauty lip tint that you maybe have seen before. It's a thinner formula, but it's still a bit creamy or moussey, I would say, and it dries down very fast to lips. It looks quite natural and it blurs your lips. You have to keep in mind that if you have dry lips it won't look that good, so you really need to scrub your lips before you use them. But if you have a bad day with dry lips and you can't do something about it, you can use the lip gloss on top of it and it will smoothen out all the dry crustiness. It's a fantastic lifesaver in my opinion. The interesting thing about the lip gloss is that it has a very cool applicator. It looks like a plastic wand, but it's very thin and it's transparent. And I have seen other brands coming out with those, so maybe it's a trending applicator that is coming to more brands, so to say. The reason why I really enjoy this kind of applicator is because it's so easy to apply to your lips and it feels quite interesting too. It doesn't take off any other product that you have underneath on your lips. For example, if you use the lip tint, it doesn't take off the lip tint when you apply the lip gloss, and that's really neat in my opinion. So the glosses are really sparkly and intense. It's a slightly thinner formula, but that also means that it won't be sticky on your lips and it's really comfortable to use, and it maybe won't last as long as a sticky one, but it will at least look better in my opinion. The lip gloss also has a minty feeling and they are also a little bit plumping. If you are sensitive to plumping products, you maybe won't like that burning sensation, but it's not super strong like, for example, the NYX Duck Lips or those products. It's a more mild plumping effect, but it really feels refreshing on the lips in my opinion. When it comes to lip tints, it has the most lovely flavor or smell of peach. I love it so much, and I'm almost like Ferdinand who is smelling the flowers all day with those lip tints. And another plus is that the packaging is absolutely stunning. I love the concept of double-ended products because you don't need to bring too many products with you. You can just put it in your handbag and you're ready for the day, basically. I guess that I actually have one critique to the lip products, and that is that the shade names are only in Chinese. So if you have a lot of those products and you can't identify which shade is which, it will be a little bit hard, but if you have ordered just a couple, you will maybe be able to tell which shade it is anyway. I just wanted to point it out because I know that it's important for some people to know what shade they are wearing. Before you click out of this video, I'm super interested to know if you have tried Haggard makeup before or if they are on your radar. Have you been looking at some of the products and are interested in them? Please let me know in the comments. I think this was all for this video. I hope that you did enjoy it, and please consider to subscribe if you aren't already, especially if you are into colorful makeup, graphic liners or indie makeup. Have a nice day, thank you so much for watching, and see you soon. Bye bye! But what's even more cool is the actual packing, unique and fun in my collection. Which is awesome in my collection. What is it called in English?